First of all, very excited for this week. First and foremost, being this game being represented as the Dick Tomey Legacy game. Um, Obviously, Dick Tomey is very important to both schools. There's a lot of people, on our staff too that are very fond of Coach Tomey. And I don't know if there are many people that can speak more to his legacy than I can. Coach Tomey came to the University of Hawaii in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, and really, it was the opening of Aloha Stadium. And really, Coach Tomey was the one who catapulted um, University of Hawaii football, Rainbow Warrior football, into the national limelight. The people he played on, played big teams like Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa. I mean, just different people over the years, USC, and Coach Tomey was a big part of bringing big time Division One football to the University of Hawaii. I was recruited by Coach Tomey, played for him. A lot of what I do and the way I coach, I learned from Coach Tomey, and so very grateful for him because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Got me into, recruited me, and like I said, just learned a lot of things from him. And before he passed away, spent a lot of time on the phone with him, just talking football with him because I had so much respect for him. Went to the University of Arizona, became the all-time winningest coach there. Before he left Hawaii, he was all-time winningest coach in Hawaii. And so did great things at both of those schools and came here, finished his career here at San Jose State. I'm not sure how many years he was here, but I know he had a profound impact on people because that's who Coach Tomey is. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't start talking about that man, especially if the game's named after him. And so excited for this matchup. Hawaii 6-2, 3-1 in conference, doing a really good job. Some of the things that I've lamented about our program not being able to finish games, to Hawaii's credit, they've been able to finish. They've been able to finish close games, which is a testament to Coach Chang and their kids. They play hard. Coach Timmy Chang is doing a great job there. A lot of guys on their staff. Like I said, impressive watching them on tape. Everything starts with their quarterback, with Micah. The quarterback, really impressive. He's a really good thrower. He's elusive. He can move the sticks. Timmy uses him, and he uses all of his talents. Good receivers in Ashlock. He's a really good receiver. Landon Sims, a running back, was a guy that actually coached and played with his dad, Travis Sims. So they're really explosive on offense. On defense, one of the best defenses in the conference and in the country. They're up there, and that's a testament to Coach Dennis Thurman, who's their defensive coordinator, longtime NFL coach. You just watch them; it's super impressive to watch them play. They know what they're doing. They're well coached. Thinking everything on defense and everything on offense starts with Micah Alejado, and everything on defense starts with Peter Manuma. I mean, he's tough, physical, smart, played a lot of ball for them. And, you can just see, just like I said, they're a well-structured team. And obviously, one of the national talks is their kicker. Amazing kicker. Any kicker to be 20 for 20 is an amazing stats. I mean, that's 60 points. And, hearing the story, how he learned it, he learned kicking off YouTube, it's pretty impressive because I remember watching him in the first game against Stanford, came in and kicked a game winner as time expired. And so really impressed with him. Kanze, I think his name is. But, it's going to be a tough game for us. Really good team, playing really well right now. Hopefully, we can play our best to even have a chance against these guys. But our team's looking forward to it.
Aaron Johnson with the Mercury News, and you mentioned you were recruited by Coach Tomey, and just how did you get on his radar? What was it like playing for him?
Well, I wasn't a big time recruit or anything. Actually, the University of Hawaii recruited my cousin. His name is Doris Halanoa, and he was one of the top recruits not only in Hawaii but on the West Coast. And so I think they came to his games and saw me, and they're also recruiting another good friend of mine who's in coaching, Brian Norwood. He's coaching at TCU right now. He's coached many places. But us three got recruited by Hawaii. I was probably the third choice of their guys, but it was awesome. It was awesome being recruited by him, being able to be there for a couple of years, seeing his culture, how he does things. Again, a lot of the things that I've learned in my coaching, um, blue line effort, that's what we call it here at San Jose State, but just effort, family, ohana, playing together, playing for your brother, the brotherhood, all of that I learned from Coach Tomey. And so, it was awesome playing for him, and God had a profound impact on many people, and I'm just one of them.
And then you mentioned during the bye week you wanted to look over the film and kind of correct things. And then now that you worked on that, what has been the message for actual game week this week going forward?
Well, again, like I've said before, I mean, we're not far off, and so just attention to detail. And I've said this, and I mean, we're 4 plays away from being 6-1, but we're not. And why not? So just looking at those details, the things that we've just emphasized, just the attention to detail in your job. It's not like we have to scrap schemes and start from scratch or anything like that. We just got to make sure we pay attention to detail.
And then what have you seen from Hawaii's passing offense?
Really good. Again, everything starts, with Micah. Really smart. He knows where to go with the football. Gets rid of it quickly. He's a baller. Kid's a football player, and so he's gonna hit the open guy. He's accurate. If people are covered up, he'll run and get the first down. He just presents a lot of problems for you because he's a run and shoot quarterback, but he's not a pocket guy. He just if things break down, he's gonna get the first down with his legs, and he's tough. I mean, he doesn't just run and slide. I mean, he takes some hits, and really impressed watching him. But yeah, they're a really good offense, and everything starts with Micah. There's some similarities in both of our offenses. I think the core foundation of Timmy's stuff and Craig's stuff are similar. Both of them have branched off and done stuff, but the core stuff are very similar, but super explosive. O-line is well coached. The Sims kid at running back, presents some issues because, he can, leaks out of the backfield. They throw screens to him, little shuttle play, and so draw with him. And so if you're, too worried about the run, not only can Micah hurt you, but he can hurt you. And their wide receivers are super talented.
And then Danny Scudero, he battled through, all those big shots last week or 2 weeks ago against Utah State. And then just what is his status right now? Are you expecting him to be like out there again?
Yeah, he has actually practiced today, so that's a good sign. And Utah State, he didn't practice. We just got to the game and played. Walker threw some balls, barely practiced against Utah State, and so coming from New Mexico in the first half, I felt like Wyoming, where I feel like for 6 quarters of offense, we were humming on offense, on all cylinders. And then, obviously Walker gets hurt, and then we take a step back. And, not only that, but also Danny got hurt. But both of those guys being back is going to help us. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Ooh, sorry.
Nick Urias with KSGS. Coach, since you've arrived here in San Jose, just the first time that you're playing against Hawaii, I know you and Coach Timmy Chang got tons of connections across the board. I mean, I guess, what is it going to be like going up against, I imagine, a good friend of yours on the other side this weekend?
Yeah, Timmy's a good person, comes from a good family. Actually, his dad was my JV basketball coach, Levi Chang. And so, great man. Another guy had a profound impact on me just growing up, young kid in high school, probably a hothead a little bit, but just with Coach Chang, he was a great mentor. But know Timmy. We're obviously different in age group, but he actually was recruited Hawaii and had a phenomenal career. I mean, he's a way better quarterback than I was, but really good friends. He's also really good friends with the Stutzmann, especially Craig. But we got 4 Rainbow Warriors on our staff with myself, Craig and Billy Stutzmann and John Estes. All 4 of us played at the University of Hawaii, and so that's still my home. It's going to be exciting to play them. Exciting to play Timmy, especially since he's doing a really good job. It's just competitive, just going against each other. But really proud of him and his program. And to be honest with you, besides this game, I watch them a lot and pull for them a lot. I mean, and if they're not playing us, I'm always pulling for the University of Hawaii. That's my school, and so just not this week. Don't pull for them this week, but every other week I'm pulling for the Rainbow Warriors.
Hey, Coach Niles Hall with the Spear here. Over the bye week, what was something you saw from the team that you want to see improve during the final stretch of the season?
I've been impressed. Like I said, I'm just trying to look at everything because when you lose all these close games, you got to look at everything: your preparation, how you're teaching, how you're coaching, how you're preparing. Is there you got to look under every stone. What are we missing? And so I've been doing this a long time, so I'm trying to recall on all that I know to look at things. And to our kids' credit, they're working hard. Just all the detailed stuff. So my message to them is just stay the course. Just keep fighting, stay the course. Keep coming to work. Eventually, the tide will turn. But I've been impressed with our players. There hasn't been any not guys not practicing hard and any backlash in the locker room or any backbiting or any of that kind of stuff. Just our locker room bickering. Been impressed with them, and again, it's a testament to our senior leadership, our leadership on our team, that they stay the course. We just got to find a way to get on the field. Get those positive results on the field.
And then recently, you guys have faced a lot of adversity. What would a win against Hawaii mean for you guys?
Huge. We're just trying to go 1-0, but this is a pivotal game for our season. We still got a lot to play for. We still got a chance to go to a bowl game, but you got to start with one. You can't look to try to get 6. It just starts with one, and that's kind of our mindset. But I agree. If we can get this one, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to get this one. But I think, as I've talked to our team, I think us seeing the Mountain West, how close it is. I mean, their games have been close. Seeing New Mexico, who we played and beat, and they turn around and get after Utah State. To me, it tells that our league is like this. And any week, anybody can beat anybody, and we know that. And so, hopefully we play our best, and we're going to have to play our best to beat these guys because they're playing really well right now as a football team. Playing really good complementary football, Hawaii is.
How you doing, Coach? Nick Austin was the reality. You just mentioned attention to detail and consistency as far as things you want to see, maybe from a philosophical perspective going forward. But is there anything in specific that you want to see, maybe against this team against Hawaii, that would give you a good sign that they're ready to go on a run and potentially make a bowl game?
Yeah, so we looked at one thing in the bye week, you're able to be self-analytical on your stuff and look at things and look at all the stats. Nowadays with analytics, you can find any stat. And so one stat that we got to improve on is our turnovers. And, for turnovers, we're like 108, which isn't good. And anytime you're in triple digits, it's not good. So we went back and looked at all of our turnovers. 2 of them were Walker was kind of trying to throw the ball and get knocked out. I'm okay with that. That's hard. It's hard on the quarterback. You're trying to throw the football and the ball gets knocked out. But the other ones that got knocked out on the fumbles have been fumbles inside fumbles. So we do a lot of ball security on the side with high and tight and stuff. But we've recognized that it's been all here. And so trying to make sure that when we carry the ball in traffic that we got, we lock the wrist. And especially to your point, Nick, against these guys, Hawaii is really good at that. Really good. You can tell that it's an emphasis of them. The second guy coming through, you see a guy lock up. And the second guy coming through, especially if they're always trying to punch at the ball, which is great coaching on their part, which is awesome. And so we know that for us, a big emphasis this week, let me retract it because we feel like we were able to move the ball on people. Our scoring in is so high because our drives have been stopped at times through turnovers. Point in case, our point was last week against Utah State. I mean, we're driving, we get a turnover, and we had one, didn't have any, and we lose by 5 points. You know what I mean? And so that turnover was critical. And so this week we've been continue to emphasize having to tip up off the wrist, especially against a team like Hawaii that tries to punch the ball out. And also on the defensive side of the ball, making sure we cut back on our explosive pass plays. That's been, Achilles heel for us. Now we're going in against a passing team. We got to make sure that, they don't, we limit or eliminate all their explosive pass plays.
And would you say, in regards to the explosive plays, that's more of a communication thing or a technique thing or a little bit of both?
It's definitely both. There have been times, normally when you got somebody running scot free, it was a communication breakdown, and so that's first and foremost. And sometimes we've had some where guys are in play, and just got to stay and make a play on the ball. I was gonna say there are a lot of times I feel like we're in good shape and played the ball well, but we got called for a PI. I'm not complaining. Let's let the league know I'm not complaining about that. I'm just stating that. But so but yeah, when you have those 50-50 balls and they catch them, I mean, it's you're if they catch them, you're disappointed. But at least you're in play. You got a chance to knock it down. It's the one we got to eliminate where guys are running scot free, and so yes, one of it's technique, but a big part is just communication.
Aaron Johnson with the Mercury News, and on the defensive side of the ball, just what was the focus over the bye week that you guys wanted to work on?
A lot of things. Just looking. You reassess where you're at. You look at some tendencies that you might have. You look at personnel that you might be playing with. You just kind of break everything down, and then you just work on the fundamentals in the bye week. I mean, just the basics, and to keep those guys fresh and eager to move forward in the season. And then just kind of evaluate some of the things that were difficult during the first part of the season. What can we do to improve in some of those areas? So we just kind of overhaul everything and kind of break things down from there.
And then what have you seen from Hawaii's passing offense, currently second best in the Mountain West?
Yeah, very potent. I mean, they throw the ball a lot, and they're very efficient with it. Their quarterback makes everything go. He extends plays really well with his feet, when things aren't there. And so that dual thing that they do with that, with him being able to run and scramble and extend plays to actually throwing the ball and being accurate with it, makes it, especially tough. And so, and their run game is efficient. They're over 100 yards in the run game. They do a lot of different things, and they pose some challenges for sure.
And then, what would your assessment be of the secondary, good and bad, for you guys? How have you felt about SJSU secondary?
Yeah, there's been some really good things. I know it doesn't seem that way, but but there has been, as you watch the film, there's some really good things that they've shown in the secondary. We've shown in the secondary, and then there's some things that or a bust where communication was lacking on the play or an assignment error. And when you're on the back end, if you have an error, it's usually a big play. Again, somebody up front misses a gap or not in the right spot. No one sees that, and someone corrects it behind them. In the second level, the linebackers or DBs, and so we're just continually working on those things, communication wise, and being assignment sound, so we can limit those big chunk plays that were just really on us, as far as our level of communication on that particular play.
And you guys have had like a rotating cast of like D linemen kind of like throughout the whole thing. Like, how did that get started? And then what have you liked from that rotation?
Yeah, just keeping those guys fresh. I mean, they're banging on every snap. We want to keep them, as best we can, and playing fast. That also goes with the pass rush. You get a little worn out rushing the passer a lot, and so we want to keep fresh bodies in there to keep that pressure on the quarterback up to date and such. So that's always been a staple here, is just keeping those guys fresh and moving.
Hey, Coach, Niles Hall with the Spear here. How do you plan to deal with Hawaii's receiving score? Jackson Harris has 3 straight 100-yard games, and they're the second best passing offense.
Yeah, it kind of goes with that. Yeah, I mean, we got to go out there and go play. You know what I mean? I mean, if you look at it statistically, it's a strength versus our weakness. You know what I mean? And so the guys are excited for the challenge. It's going to be a big challenge for sure. We're working diligently in practice to get better at some of the things that they impose on teams and do certain things. And so we're going to let it rip.
How you doing, Coach? Nick Austin with Reality. You just mentioned communication being a big thing, a big point of emphasis, and Coach Ken mentioned it too just now. How is that worked on during practice? Is it simply just guys needing to talk more, or is it the way they're communicating, the verbiage they're using? How is that worked on?
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we use every day in practice. Now, you wouldn't know it, but in practice, it's spot on. So it's that transition to the game that we got to get that figured out of, why all of a sudden it's not where we needed to be, and so and the guys have been great. I mean, they understand that they're working extremely hard to fix those errors, and I feel good about when we go out there on the field that they're gonna get it done when they get out there, and so. But it's a little bit of that, it might be an assignment issue. The guy thought that he had it, and he's not supposed to take this certain route. But again, there's a lot of other good things. There's 30 other plays that were right on point, but then there's 3 that aren't, and those are the 3 that you remember. You know what I'm saying? And so we're just trying to eliminate all of it and keep striving forward and moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And this might tie into what you just answered right now, but is there anything in specific that you want to see in these final stretch of games that you feel can really help catapult this team to a bowl game?
Yeah, just finishing games, really. A lot of close losses, and put ourselves in position to, win those games and just didn't, And so the finish part of things is really big. Everything we do in practice is about finishing the practice, finishing the rep, finishing, the sprint through the line, all the little details. Finish is what we're all about right now. And so, again, the guys have been really good about doing those things and really striving to better themselves each and every day. And, we'll see what happens Saturday. I mean, I think, the guys are excited to, get out and play some football.
Coach, Hawaii, you've been around a long time with San Jose State, so you've seen Hawaii for several years now. Is there anything that this year that they're doing a little bit differently offensively? I know they've always ran the run and shoot because they've always kind of been in the basement of the Mountain West, or kind of just working their way up, and this year they're having a successful season. So is there kind of anything differently that they've been doing, or is it just executing at a higher level than maybe in previous times you've seen them?
They're very similar to what they've done in the past. Again, they've got good players doing it. They got a quarterback that's really running things really well. But each year is different. Like, you got different guys that do different things well, and as a coach, you're always tinkering with what you have. You know what I mean? It's never the same every single year and blindly go out there. They've got 5 really good receivers that can go. They have a quarterback that really extends plays and makes things happen after the snap, as far as extending plays and finding guys down the field that are open. And then they have a tough running back that's back there too that runs the ball well. So they just, each year, and every team does this, they just kind of morph their offense or defense into who they have, and then they just go from there. So every year's a little tweak, but they're doing it really well right now.
Aaron Johnson with the Mercury News, and getting ready to play Hawaii. Does this game mean a little bit extra to you, given all the connections to Hawaii?
You like to say that it doesn't. Every game's the same, but there's a little bit, I guess, extra oomph, to want to win this one. That's where we're from, born and raised, played there, was able to coach there, and it's a Dick Tomey legacy game. There's a lot of tie-ins to this game, but at the same time too, though, the way that we treat it is just another game. They're all the same. Doesn't matter. You don't get a bonus point. You know what I mean? It's not like it's baseball where, or whatever it is you play in conference or in division, right? And all of a sudden it's kind of like worth a game and a half. For this one, it's just one. So one play at a time and go out there and get a win.
And then in the game against Utah State, Scudero took a lot of big hits, had to come out of the game, kept coming back. Just can talk about his toughness and just what you saw from him in that moment.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's a tough kid. We rely heavily on him in a lot of things that we do. And I think when he's out on the field, when 10's on the field, the defense is very aware of where he's at. And it probably changes some things, what they want to do, and whether it's the coverages or where they line guys up. So it's important to have him out there, and keeping him healthy is one of the top priorities for us.
And then SJSU is passing attack number 1 in the Mountain West right now. Hawaii is passing attack number 2 in the Mountain West. Is that just a little exciting, knowing that it could potentially turn out to be kind of like an air raid on both sides for you?
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, too, though, there are some similarities in what we do and what they do. I think when you look at it, they're doing a lot of things that we've done in the past, whether when I was coaching at the University of Hawaii, and also when I was at Emory and Henry as the OC, right? Remember, he took over for me offensively when I left to go to the University of Hawaii. So he's familiar with what we do offensively. And you could see it. Like, there's a lot of things that they do offensively that it kind of comes from what we've done in the past. So there's going to be some things that you're going to see maybe both sides that look very similar, but at the same time too, though, we got our own little wrinkles, and we'll go ahead and do the best that we can to get this win.
On the defensive side of the ball, what are you seeing from them?
I tell you what, defensively, that's where they hang their hat. I don't know Dennis Thurman. I never met him, but I got a lot of respect for him as a defensive coach, because what he was able to do going into last year, turn that defense around, and this year, I mean, they're really good. They don't do a lot, but what they do, they know it like the back of their hands. They play hard. They play fast. They're physical. They're going after the football. I really think that's the heart and beat of their team is their defense. That really sets the tone for how they play as a team. So it's going to be a tall task and a good challenge for us, but we'll be up to it.
And then Leland Smith, just what did you like from his performance in Utah State? And then just kind of talk about those kind of spectacular catches that he's made throughout the season.
Yeah, I think going forward, there was glimpses of really good things he was able to do early on in the season. Had a couple of drops here and there, but he's really worked at being able to focus on the football, look it all the way in, catching it with strong hands. And we've been able to find different ways to get him on the field, whether it's in the slot or wide out, just finding ways to get him the football, because he's a big target. Walker likes him a lot. He's explosive. And so being able to find ways to get him along with Kyrie and Danny in different positions, I think poses some problems for defenses.
Nick Urias with KSJS. Coach, your offense was kind of humming, coming out of, to start conference play, and, Utah State kind of stifled it a little bit in the second half. What was the main message for you guys offensively, while you guys had this bye week and in preparation for this game this weekend?
Number one thing is just play confidently. They know what they're supposed to do. The message to the team today was, it's a player's game. I love it. Bill Belichick had this saying. I saw it somewhere years ago, and I stole it. And I keep on telling our guys, it's a player's game. They know what to do. Just play confidently. And, right now I think I said this the other day, is we're playing our best defense against us, right? Meaning, we're fumbling the ball, in certain positions, in certain times. We're getting penalties to start drives or in the red zone that's kind of putting us behind the chains. Just go ahead and not overthink things. First down, second down, third down, fourth down, it's all the same. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, it's all the same. You play confidently, you know what to do, and just go out and make plays.
Hey, Coach, winning close game situations, what's something you want to see the offense improve upon?
Taking care of the football and just play confidently. Don't worry about, hey, it's fourth down, and if we get this, we can run the clock out and take these. I think some of those things is good to talk to the offense and the players about, but at the same time too, though, you never want to make it too much bigger than what it is. It's a play. You know what I mean? And yeah, some plays maybe is in more critical times the other, but it's still a play. We get about 80 of them a game. So.
And then coming out of the last bye week earlier this season, you guys seem to gain momentum. And then coming out of this bye week, what should we expect from the offense?
Hopefully it rings true that we just continue with momentum. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of new things that we installed. You look at our offense, you look at the games. It's nothing that we got to maybe throw this away or recreate this. It's just about getting our guys healthy, getting our guys confident, and understanding we got 5 games left to play. And there's a whole lot that could happen in 5 weeks, especially in the Mountain West.
How you doing, Coach? Nick Austin with Reality. Hawaii ranks 20, or they're tied for 22nd nationally in sacks forced.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges have you seen as far as presenting to the O-line, and what has the game plan been for the O-line this week in preparation for that?
Yeah, it's been quarterbacks hit the ball out quick. Really, they got some speed rushers, they got some power rushers. I've known Jeff Reinbold for a long time. He's a defensive line coach, and he's a defensive line specialist. So he's going to have those guys. It's not surprising that they're ranked as high as they are in sacks. I think defensively, it allows those guys up front to play fast and free because there's not a lot of things that they're asking them to do. I think Dennis Thurman does a great job in certain situations of getting matchups or getting the offensive line confused and really getting some isolation on some of their best pass rushers. And the guys that maybe aren't the speedy or the twitchy guys, they play hard and they play through the V of the necks of the offensive lineman. So it's really about staying inside out, anchoring down, trusting their technique, and just being able to create, things in the back end to get the ball out quick to the receivers, and take advantage of what the defense is. Because defensively, you can't take away everything. What are they willing to give up, and how are we going to attack it? That's really the chess game that we're playing.
And opponents have averaged about 27 passes per game against their defense. You guys average about 46. Is the plan to sort of stay the course with you guys and keep passing a lot, or maybe conform to what offenses have tried to do in the past and run the ball a little more?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, I don't like that word conform too much because I don't think of myself as a person that likes to conform to anything. I like to stay on the attack, and whatever that means. You look at some of our games, guys are playing a lot of coverage and they're trying to stay deep on us. Well, guess what? We're going to attack the box and we're going to run the football, right? And then when teams try to get a little bit more aggressive up front, we're going to make them pay on the back end. There's not a number of plays or a number of run plays or pass plays I'm trying to hit. All it is what is the defense doing and how can we attack and go score points and get yards, because that's the only thing that matters. I'm not sure why other teams offensively have decided not to throw it. And, honestly, they do a good job in the back end. They're not trying to give up explosive plays. Football is very simple, right? And Coach Ken talks about it all the time. Take care of the football and limit explosive plays on defense, right? Or take away, get the ball. And on offenses, create explosive plays and value the football. So they're great at taking away the football, and they're also great at creating negative plays and taking away deep shots. So that's going to be the challenge for us this week.
And lastly, for me, Aaron mentioned, Danny a little banged up, and how needed that bye week was for him. Even speaking to Walker, how needed was that bye week for him to sort of get healthy and get back in this offense in a groove?
I think it was really, really important. It was critical for our guys to take a little break, get away from the facility for a couple of days and really just exhale and get some extra treatment, because it's not those two guys. I mean, we got some guys across, and it's just college football in general, right? And the NFL, you see a lot of guys that are nicked up in injuries and trying to take care of their bodies. And I think that's a large part of what this next 5 weeks are going to be. It's going to be the war of attrition. Who can keep their best players healthy and get them to the finish line? Because when you look at it, yes, we're 2-5. It's not where we want to be, but we're so close on every game, and we're just right there. And that's just the Mountain West, and really conference by conference, there's a lot more parity. The guys that can keep their guys engaged, the guys can take care of the football, and the guys that can keep their team healthy, they're going to end up winning these next 5 weeks in November, December, and they're the ones that's going to be playing for conference championships and getting to bowl games. So that's a priority for us, is taking care of our players, making sure they know what to do, play confident, and go out and just, shoot your shot.
Any more questions, Coach?
Just real quick, how long you been calling games without using a play sheet?
Since I started coaching high school. I've never called games just looking at the call sheet. For me, that's just the way that it works best. Is I trust what my eyes see. I trust the players. I trust the plan. And I trust the adjustments, because the game is not played just off of percentages, and it's not played based off of, what these guys' tendencies are. The game is always evolving, and so long as that my eyes can be right, and so long as that I know what we're doing, I'm always going to do it that way, because I just think that the game is organic. There's different players that play different things. It's not on the whiteboard. It's not just X's and O's. Sometimes guys, this coverage or this front or this pressure is supposed to hit these gaps, but maybe somebody's having a hard time, and how can we attack that guy? So that's kind of just my mentality is, if we could, then AI and the computers and all those guys would be calling plays right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of value in understanding on your percentages and understanding what your tendencies are, and understanding in these situations we want to get to those plays. I'm not calling it blind. There's a plan. There's things that we know we want to get into in certain defenses when they present these things in certain situations. It's my job just to remember, and it's not memorizing, it's just understanding why. Like, why is this front really good versus this? Why is this coverage really good versus this? And how can I attack what they're trying to do with something else?